Welcome back to another lesson. So in this one, we'll be looking at some new HTML tags and features. So the new HTML elements that were introduced in HTML5 are called semantic elements. So semantic elements basically are elements that clearly describe their meaning in human and machine readable way. So we have a number of elements that are semantic in nature. So we have, for example, the header element, footer, and article. All these are considered to be semantic HTML elements. Of course, they do have their own purpose, and um, one major purpose that they have is to help organize content on a web page. Okay, so if you have different, for example, sections on your website, you would use a section semantic HTML element that would properly organize your content depending on those different sections that you have on your page. So for example, you might have a section that describes maybe the company or the individual if it's a portfolio website, details about the company if it's a company website, um, details about the product if it's a page for selling certain products, and you might have different sections. You might have a contact details section. You might have a services section. Features of the products that you're selling section. You might have all these different sections, right? And so it would be useful for you to use a section element. Okay. And another thing that these elements help us with is search engine optimization. Okay. So search engine optimization basically is a way of creating your website, your HTML website, okay, in such a way that when we rank those websites on different search engines, we are able to make sure that our website come on top whenever someone is searching for content that is related to what is on our page. Okay, so we make sure we do certain things on our pages when we are creating them in such a way that they rank high on different search engines, and that's search engine optimization, which is good especially when it comes to creating a business website, right? So if you're selling a product, you want customers to visit your website, you want customers to interact with your website, and you want customers, of course, to reach out and buy your products, right? And so these elements do help us in terms of creating a website that is well structured and the content is well outlined so that it's easy for different search engines to get access to your pages and be able to display them whenever the user searches for information that is related to what your website is about. Okay, so these are just the different sections. So you have, for example, the header element. Okay, so with the header element, from the word header, it tells us that here we can write content that we are supposed to put on top of the website. So whenever you visit a website, for example, you might see content like maybe links that take you to other pages, right? And so all that information gets to be placed inside the header or the navigation, right? And you have things like the footer. So the footer is usually the section of the page that goes at the bottom that contains extra information about the website. So that might be copyrights, for example, it might have contact details, it might have maybe emails and things like that, right? Or details about the company or the page itself or the website itself, right? Then you have the aside, right? So there are different ways of creating your navigation. So for example, you might have your navigation links on the side, or maybe the menu might be on the side. So for you to create all that, you can use the aside semantic element, right? So these are a number of HTML semantic elements that you can use, right? So we have the article, aside, the details, caption, figure, footer, header, main, mark, nav, section, summary, time. These are just a number of the new semantic elements that we have in HTML. Okay, so let's look at an example on how we can implement this. Okay, so during our last lesson, we were looking at forms, and these are our forms, right? So we can actually organize these forms because we had created two different forms. We can actually organize these forms in terms of different sections, right? So we can have, for example, the first section, right? So this is a heading. We know that it's a heading, right? It's on top. It's separate from this. So this just tells us that this is a page for login and sign up, right? So we can actually get this. Let's cut it, right? Then we put it inside the header tag. Why are we putting it inside the header tag? Because it's the information that goes on top of the website, right? Then this other one, this first form, we can actually cut it and put it in a different section, right? So this is one section like that. Then we have our form like that, right? Then we also have the second form. It can also fall or be placed in a different section as well, like that. Okay. Then we can properly just structure our code, right? Let's structure it, right, like that. Okay. So we have this section, we have this header, right? Then at the bottom there, okay, so at the bottom we can actually create a footer, okay, footer. So in here, for the footer, we can just create a paragraph that says copyright. Copyright, for example, right? Just say 2023, like that. Copyright web development. Okay, then if you want to add that, if it's an icon, that text for the copyright, what you can do is you can just go on Google, right? So go on Google, then you say copyright symbol, right? Then you can just get this symbol there, you copy it, okay? Then you can paste it there, like that, okay? Then we save our work. So this is a way that you can use these different HTML semantic elements. So when we go on our website, you notice that nothing much has changed, right? But we've organized our website into different sections. So to the eye, it might not look like you've done much, but in terms of search engine optimization and just making sure that your website appears first on these different pages or search engines, we've made sure that that is on point. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is how you go about creating or adding different HTML semantic elements to your pages. I'll see you in the next lesson.